Welcome to the Game Rage Music Show.
Oh, all right. There it is. Here we go. Once again, this is the Game Rage Music Show, also known as the Good Ass Music Show and or podcast. This is episode fucking 19. 19 at the end of No Nut November. As always, I'm Josh, and I'm here with my fellow co-host, Adam.
Howdy.
So, Adam, we have some topics today, but Adam has basically taken advantage of No Nut November, and he has teased me in a way that it can only be scratched by just telling me what the hot gossip is.
Yes.
But he tells me about this hot gossip yesterday. He doesn't tell me about it. He just said, hey, man, I got some interesting things that I learned. And I said, oh, what would that be? And he's, oh, no, man, I want to save it for the podcast. Oh, great. So I had to wait a whole 24 plus hours.
On the eve of the end of No Nut November.
I've been backed up in the ball sack, and now he just backed me up in the brain sack because now I can't fuck it. So today, well, really, you won't witness that me blowing the load for the first time in 30 days, but you will witness me blowing a mental load from the blue brain that Adam has given me from this gossip news.
Yeah.
Hot gossip. But anyways, what other did you have other topics to talk about tonight? I'm sure you did. I know you did.
Yeah, I mean this one's kind of supplemental to the topic itself because it ended up being two bands that performed for the show that I went to, right?
Right, because you went to a show.
But each of them respectively performed for the first time together.
Oh, hey, that's pretty cool.
Which was weird because, you know, when you perform as a band, you imagine you rehearsed 1,000 times over.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
And that wasn't the case for either band.
They had never rehearsed together at all.
No.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That not only is crazy that it would happen for one of them,
yeah,
but that it was for two.
Yeah.
So
it's just kind of a strange anomaly, a coincidental thing. But
so since you're the one who knows what the hot gossip is, should we save that? Is that something that's main event worthy?
I try to build towards
it.
Yeah.
All right.
So this might end up just coming out at the halfway point. But
yeah, that's fine. I mean,
so I guess we could start with something random that I just stumbled upon because I mean I haven't listened to U2 in I mean, my brother really liked that band when I was younger. And I don't know how he feels about them now since they're kind of in their senior golden years or maybe in the twilight of their career. But I don't know. Maybe they're as popular as ever because they performed over at that dome, that giant fucking ball thing in Las Vegas.
Oh, shit.
It was like the grand opening was them.
Yeah.
But it's weird because that thing, as great as you know it is or what it might be, because it gives you like a 360 panoramic kind of visual or whatever. So like when they were performing, it was kind of stupid because if you saw there's videos of their performance, right? So they have this fucking like 360 dome thing, all encompassing, right? So you're listening to their music, and the background that they chose was a fucking desert, like in one of the in the desert. Yeah, so I'm like, that seems redundant. And then there was another scene or another song that they performed where there was like angels, kind of look like the Vatican or whatever. Like you walk into the church and you see all the angels and shit, and that was interesting. But that thing's losing money, and I don't know if they're ever going to recover it because the first night didn't make what they wanted or they projected to make. So that thing might actually end up being an eyesore.
Yeah, so just based on the first
first performance,
they're like, fuck, we're not going to make the money back on this.
Yeah, so it kind of, for as long as they've been building it, and who the fuck knows how long they've been building it, now it's like they're basically going to bleed money until they decide to like sell it off, or and this is brand new technology, like all the shit that they made. So I don't know. It's kind of funny.
You know what's funny? We're going to talk about this on the CUP fucking podcast later, but BlackRock and Blackstone actually own a shit ton of hotels in fucking Vegas.
Oh, you don't say.
So it would be interesting to see. I don't know who owns or this fucking dome thing or whatever, but it would be interesting to see if do they add that to the list of things when this goes under and say, oh fuck it, let's just buy this too for pennies on the dollar.
I think I had something to I think I have something to add to that for CUP podcast. It's not related to casinos or even like structures like that fucking giant orb in Vegas, but a food conspiracy.
Ooh, oh, all right. Well, hey, if you are a fan of conspiracies and things of that nature, tune into what would be the latest episode of the Central Unintelligence podcast, only on the Game Rage Podcast Network.
Yes,
and you can hear us talk about that shit over there.
Yes.
So, anyways, but back to the music, the show.
So Tuesday of this week, so that was November 28th.
Okay, yeah.
So I bought tickets to go see Munya. And one thing that I was anticipating, which I thought was going to happen the first time that we had Kind of Lou come out to the West Coast, was my suspicions were Munya would be one of the opening acts for the show that happened at the Moroccan Lounge in the month of June of this year. So that didn't happen. But I thought, okay, so Munya is coming out she's playing 2 shows, one in New York, which I think is where she lives now. I think she was formerly residing in Montreal, Quebec, right? So she did a show in New York, and then there was one in LA, and it was at the Echo. So this is the Live Nation venue. I didn't get at part of the reason I actually went out there too was I wanted to talk to her afterwards and say, hey, so what's the deal with Live Nation? And are you getting a percentage of your merch sales?
Yeah.
Are you giving it to Live Nation?
Yeah.
Because we did, we looked into it.
Yeah, we did. Deep dive.
And I want to know if it's lip service or they're just bullshitting and they're still taking money away from, the artists that work so hard to not only come out to perform, but also to sell their own shit. And, it wouldn't be very nice of Live Nation if they were saying one thing and then doing another.
Correct.
But I didn't have that opportunity. Nonetheless, I went out to the show. Johan, the founder of Heady FM, and I went out to this show, and it was actually pretty sweet. Like everything went as well as you could imagine. I didn't have fucking problem parking. Like there was plenty of street parking. I actually parked in front of like a Thai restaurant, so I knew there was people there. So if I'm like, I don't know what chance in hell I'm gonna have somebody rob me, but but
I'm sure the chances were at best and at worst 50-50 that someone was gonna rob you.
Because granted, Echo Park, the area, if anybody's familiar with the area, has been heavily gentrified. There's tons of white people. A lot of my uncle and I call them Pulp Fiction kids because they pretend to like write and be important and try to be main characters.
Yeah. Even though they're straight NPCs.
The street NPCs. Because I mean, dude, I used to go over there all the time when I was young, and I still do. And I've seen that like neighborhood change drastically. And yes, there are drastically more white folks, Midwesterners, New Yorkers, wherever the fuck they're from. And that place has definitely been upscaled, so to speak. But luckily, I found parking, no problems. Head over to the venue, and it was cool because the first band that opened is this band named the Something Specials, brand new group, never performed together. Great band. They have this vocalist that kind of has like a Stevie Nicks type of vibe. She's got like this very sweet voice with vibrato, and she could hit like the high notes. But I'm not gonna say the performance was perfect because it wasn't. I mean, it was nearly. They did a great job.
Yeah,
considering the fact that they haven't performed together or done a rehearsal. So eventually Munya comes on, and lo and behold, Trent Prohl is there, which is awesome because actually I should preface before talking about their performance itself.
Yeah.
So I walk in, see Trent Prawl on the right of me, like because there's seating along the wall of the Echo on the right side, so it kind of just wraps around the building. And he's sitting there, and then Johan's like, "Hey, dude, he's sitting over there. Like, you go talk to him." I'm like, "No, I'll wait." And then, man, I don't know if I should say the part that bothered me a lot, but if he listens, and fuck it, I don't really care.
Nah, man, listen, that's the one thing.
It's not about him. It was a person. Yeah,
right. But this is the one thing that at least people can count on that listen to us is they can at least count on that we're not going to bullshit you.
Yeah.
We're going to tell you how we really feel. I mean, whether it's good or whether it's bad, you're going to get our honest opinion. And
all right, I'm just going to be honest.
So just tell us how it went.
I'll just be straight up. Yeah. So I walk in, see Trent. I didn't immediately say hi to him because I'm like, I don't want to overwhelm somebody. Like,
yeah.
You know how women are where they feel because there's a certain way to approach a woman. Like if you don't approach them directly, they feel threatened, or if you come from the side, they feel threatened.
Right.
So I was like, fuck, I don't even know how to approach this guy. So I just waited, and then this guy comes up to me. I don't remember what his name was, but unassuming gentleman, kind of he's nice or whatever, but somebody that I'm sighing because I have a feeling this guy's gonna fucking listen, but it's just he didn't have any self-awareness, man. Like, so Trent, I'm talking to this dude, and then Trent eventually walks over, and he's like, "Oh, hey, dude." He's like, "Are you all gas, no trash official?" And I'm like, "Yes." And then I'm like, "Hey, dude, I haven't seen you since basically 6 months it's been."
Yeah.
And we kind of had like a brief conversation. This guy's here, lingering around the conversation, and he kind of started like chiming in. And
wait, so the guy's the one that asked you, "Are you all gas, no trash?"
Trent kinda Lou himself was asking me if I was
right.
I think he knew who I was because my hair is all
I'm kind of identifiable. And you did interview him before, right? So he kind of remembered who you are.
But anyways, so I was having a small conversation with that dude.
Right. Okay.
And it turns out he was at the show that I went to previously, the one I was talking about, the Moroccan Lounge, and he won tickets that Trent gave out for the show.
Oh.
So we were kind of like talking about that.
Yeah.
And Trent walks over and he's like, "Hey," he's like, "Oh, I remember you."
Yeah.
And so then we started talking, and then I kind of got on to. So this is kind of like this part is part of the breaking news. So I was like, "Hey, dude, I got to interview you once, and I thought, it went pretty well. I mean, there's definitely some things I could work on, but my buddy and I we're starting another podcast, and we would love to have you on just as Trent Prawl,
the guy,
the human being. And if you give me the opportunity, I'd love to just talk about your academic career, and even there were some things that were left on the table from our previous conversation that I'd love to elaborate on." And he said he's fucking down. So
fuck yeah.
So we have that lined up for what we're calling the Without Censor podcast, the official or the interview podcast of Game Rage Music, or rather Game Rage magazine. So we got that lined up, and then this gentleman, I don't know why, but he felt like he had to one up me or something.
Could be a one upper. You don't know. I mean,
I don't know.
A lot of people
I don't know.
A lot of fucking people are like that.
Yeah. And Johan's like, "Oh man, yeah, this guy's great." He's talking about me. He's like, "Oh yeah, dude, he knows all the bands. He knows all the latest everything." Like and then this other guy is like, "Oh yeah, well I played fucking Kinda Lou at a party, and everybody was asking like who this band was or whatever." And I'm just like, dude, this isn't a dick measure. This isn't a fucking dick measuring contest. I didn't say anything.
Right. Yeah.
So I told Johan, I'm like, dude, I'm gonna go fucking. I don't drink, but I was like, I don't have anything else to do. So like, I walked over to the bar. I'm like, I'm gonna go get a fucking drink. He's like, "Oh no, dude, stay here. Like, you seize this moment. Like, you got to talk to Trent, man."
Yeah.
So I stuck around for a bit, and the guy was just like hogging the conversation, and I'm like, fuck, dude. And I'm like, there's this Mexican thing. There's this Mexican thing that we just hang around until somebody finishes, even though this guy like interrupted me. It just or it wasn't like an even conversation where there was like an exchange between me and him, and then there was like a natural pause, and then this guy would go in. So it just didn't feel good. The guy was like hogging it. So then John was like, oh no, stay here. I'll get the drink. And then, you could stay here and talk to him or whatever. And then I never talked to him after that. I just fucking walked away. I'm like, this is not happening, dude. Like this guy.
Jesus Christ.
And this guy was, like I said, he was a very nice gentleman.
Yeah.
Just
as I'm sure he probably is a very nice guy.
Yeah. But again, just kind of like the self-awareness thing is like, you have to know when somebody is like kind of cueing you like, hey, this is.
All right. Here's what I'm going to say about this.
Okay.
I know that it's very difficult for people to give criticism to other people, especially nowadays where people take everything as offense, right? They take it like, oh man, you called me the fucking most horrible thing you could have called me by telling me that, oh, I didn't wear deodorant today or, whatever, some shit like that, right?
Yeah.
So people can't really take criticism anymore. So I imagine, and who knows, maybe I'm wrong, but I would imagine this guy, this fella, who the interrupter, the one-upper, let's call him.
The one-upper.
Let's call him the one-upper.
Yeah.
Okay. I imagine the one-upper, he likely doesn't really have any very, very close friends.
No, don't do that.
No, hold on, listen to me. No, I'm just saying, because it's your real friends that'll tell you, hey man, you got to tone it down on this fucking one-upping nonsense. Because I've had friends that do that, and I say, hey, you got to cut that shit out, all right? And not that like we're his friends or anything, but this story is a good example for people to, hey, like maybe like the great one says, maybe know when to shut your roll or know your mouth or know your roll and shut your mouth, basically, right?
Wow,
I fucked that up completely.
That went as well as you can imagine.
Yeah, it went terribly. I literally mixed up every single word of that entire thing. But maybe you should know when to know your role and shut your mouth, right? And you should just say, hey, in that instance, an appropriate response would have been when you said the thing that you said, instead of him doing a one-upping, he should have said, oh, hey, man, that's fucking cool. So what else about this guy? Like, whatever, move the conversation on. You don't have to be, oh, I did this, I did that. Look at me. And then
I think it was the only reason he said that. I don't know why it happened, because Johan was like just bringing it up. He's like, oh yeah, like dude, this guy's like, he was pointing at me. He's like, oh, this guy's awesome. He knows all the bands. I mean,
right.
Interviewed you. I don't know why that came up, but again, like the guy took it as like a
challenge,
like a challenge or something. But it's just weird because I don't know the fucking dude, and he's like, oh yeah, he gave me the tickets and shit. He gave me the tickets for the previous concert.
Also, okay, this is another thing you got to think about too. Okay, now as much as we've talked in the past the shit about, okay, this whole, let's just call it the Hollywood culture in general, right?
Yeah. That's
how everybody is. And maybe he was thinking, oh shit, I'm going to get asked out of this conversation, so I got to show how I'm important.
Yeah.
Because maybe that's just, he's like, oh fuck, I gotta do something. And then, maybe he's just a little socially awkward too. And maybe fucking this is how it came out. I don't know. I've made poor decisions in the past in social situations.
Yeah.
And, you learn from it. And so if he does listen, I would say this isn't this is not an attack on him as a person, but hey, just maybe be a little more self-aware.
But I mean, is somebody like that? I mean, there's a number of people that have that thing where they just kind of command a conversation.
Sure, I kind of do that sometimes, where I will
commandeer a conversation, and they don't see the cues that people give.
Right. Hey, maybe he's got a touch of the tism, all right? You can't read social cues very well sometimes, or maybe, goddamn, maybe he just got social anxiety.
And maybe I'm too fucking polite to say, hey, dude, like, we're having a conversation, fuck off. Like,
that's definitely true. You are fucking way too polite when it comes to that.
So that's either something I need to work on to be that asshole and say, hey, buddy.
Yeah.
We're talking here. Let me finish my fucking conversation.
Yeah.
But I ended up just walking away, and I'm like, fuck all this. I'm done with this.
Yeah.
And at that point, that's when the Something Specials hopped on, and great performance. And then we get to Munya, and Trent's playing the bass. And I got to say, man.
Real quick, before we get on to Munya and Trent,
yes.
The Something Specials.
Yes. Are
they a new-ish band, or like give me a little backstory on them?
All right, because I don't
know shit about them, so...
So the members are comprised of people. I don't know who is from where. All that I know is that some of the people are from LA, and there's other people that are from New York.
Okay.
So that kind of makes for an interesting dynamic. That probably means, I mean, I don't know how they're going to play shows together. I imagine the team flies out to
whichever coast. Yeah.
wherever is more convenient. And the sound of the band, I mean, shit, dude. If they're going to be playing out here, I think they're kind of one of the better acts, just from what I heard, as far as country goes. Not country, but like folk rock, soft rock, something along the lines of Fleetwood Mac. Like, they have a really good sound. It's very wholesome and warm, and it feels good, like, listening to it. And a lot the crowd was pretty receptive, and there actually was a pretty decent crowd, not knowing what Munya was gonna have for a turnout. Because, I mean, just because you have 300,000 followers on Spotify, or even 7,000 followers on what do you call it, Instagram, that does not mean a one-to-one translation of, like, your audience.
Correct. Yeah.
So it was rather
I've
surprising
learned,
to see that people were showing up so early, not only for her but also for this band that nobody had any idea about. So that was cool.
Have they put out any,
They have a single
singles?
out.
Okay.
Yeah, they have a single out currently. I don't know what the plans are for the future.
What did they just do, the single and then some other songs that are going to be on the albums?
It was a 20-minute set.
Okay, so
I don't know
they
if
played like 4 or 5, 6 songs maybe.
Yeah, probably played like somewhere between 5 or 6 songs. Short set, but nonetheless entertaining. Great. I did capture the entire set to the what would be the expression, like the chagrin of Live Nation, because
breaking the law.
Got 2 words for you: suck it.
Fuck yes.
So I recorded their entire set, and I've been thinking about, I'm like, hey, what would be cool is if I extracted the audio from the thing and then played it on like Heady.
Oh,
and just talk about the band a little bit, and then
that'd be cool.
And every now and then I'll take a break, where there's a natural break between each song, and then people can get introduced to the Something Special as a brand new band.
Yeah.
And I tried reaching out to them. I just told them, like, you guys have a lot of potential. I think you're great. And I even recommended people that they should be looking out for. One artist is named, the only artist I recommended, because that's kind of like the problem here, I think, is that there's not really much of a folk rock. And I know this might be biased just to me because I haven't seen enough of those groups.
Yeah.
But there aren't, to me, enough of those groups that stand out. And to me, like, they immediately stand out. So I was like, hey, you got to reach out to this band called Lady Apple Tree, or rather the woman's name is Lady Apple Tree, because this girl has one larger artist following her already. Her name is Wiseblood, who's like a mid-level artist, but very got a great voice and everything. So if she is being followed by this person, it kind of validates her music. But I like the music to begin with, but just seeing that person in the follow list, it just kind of reinforces my belief that she also is good. So I just told him, hey, look out for this band. If you guys end up playing shows together, or if you guys are looking for bands in the future, this is somebody you guys should reach out to, because you two, no pun intended, would look great together, like, and sound good together. So just keep that in mind. I haven't gotten a response back, but I ended up posting like a video, like, a clip of their set, and tagged them, but didn't get a response. It doesn't matter. Yeah. It's just putting the word out there. So does that suffice for?
Yeah, no. Like I said, I thought it'd be interesting to hear about the opening act.
Yeah, and Trent was actually playing bass. I don't know if that was kind of like a happenstance thing, that he was the bass player for the night, or if this was just going to be a recurring thing. But I suspect it's not going to be the case, because I'll get to the reveal afterwards.
Okay, all right.
So then we get to Munya's set, and I have to say, dude, there's something about going to live shows where, so we listened to the Munya's second album, Garden.
Yeah.
And I heard songs, and I heard them live, the songs featured on the album, and my opinion about them changed. And I don't know if it's because I could feel the music, like the percussion, the bass, or maybe it was like Munya herself, like her vocals or whatever. But some of the songs I didn't like, I actually liked. My opinion is flipped on. Yeah.
Okay.
So it was kind of weird they worked out that way. And one thing I was kind of concerned about, because it seems to be something that happens frequently, is when the bass gets kind of lost in the mix because either the distortion of the guitar gets overpowering, or all the other instruments are kind of make the bass kind of muddled. It doesn't,
right. Yeah.
you can't hear it. But man, this show had to be the case where the bass stood out, because one of the focal points of the fucking album is Trent's bass lines, especially because he produced the album. So it had to be there. So listening to the entire set, that was not an issue, dude. I mean, you could feel at one point the whole fucking place started shaking. I don't know why, but like there was reverberations on the ground and like even kind of out in the airwaves. Like you could just feel it, and it was cool. So, and then at some point, I don't even know if this was part of Munya's team or something, but some woman was just shooting bubbles like all over the fucking venue,
all over the place,
walking around. I'm like,
shooting
oh, this
bubbles.
is kind of cool. So kind of added a different element. And then I'm not really sure why, but I suspect maybe it was because of the song. I forgot what it was called, but it's about her dog. So she had one half of the room barking like dogs and the other half meowing like cats. And some guy, I love these moments, dude. You know when somebody says something out loud and they're expecting like a reaction, like, oh, that was funny, or people start clapping. So the guy that was on the dog side, which is the side I was on, he said, oh, you guys are fucking pussies to the cat people. And everybody was just like, the fuck was that? Like, so the guy looked like a fucking idiot, and it was great. And I love those moments when it's just so cringe that everybody just kind of ignores him.
Damn. God, just imagine being that guy.
Yeah, it was fucking awesome.
Fuck.
So towards the end of the set, Munya goes up to the green room, and that's kind of like the customary thing amongst artists, is that when you get an encore, you hide away for a second
and then you come back. Yeah.
So after she came back, she did songs from her earliest releases, which was cool because I hadn't seen her in four years. She performed at this place called the Regent Theater, which was a place I was at like just last week. She opened for this band called Ghostland Observatory. So I haven't heard those songs performed live in 4 years, and it was cool to see her bring back some of her older catalog for the end of her set.
Yeah. So when not to interrupt or not to detract, but when you do an encore, right? Is it you come out and just do one song, or is it
no? You do. I think you do like you either do. I mean, you could do.
Is
one
it like
song.
a time? Is it like, oh, you do another 10 minutes, like, and then or no? Go answer that question, I guess, first. Well, is there a
I don't think there's a specified thing, but I think you do at least one song minimum, because then it doesn't really make it worth it.
I guess that's true.
To just do one song
and then
like walk off.
Do they plan for this in advance?
Like every fucking band does it. They walk off and they disappear, and that's just for like the.
So it's really just part of the show.
It is, but it's kind of like to get the crowd hyped and maybe to rally the troops for one. If the show starts downturning a little bit, then like you build up.
You build it back up.
Like you let off the gas a little bit, and then you have the people come out and get hyped up, and then and then you send them off on their fucking merry way.
Yeah.
So I think that's how it works out.
Oh, okay, all right, interesting.
So that more or less like wraps up the show. So the real interesting bit, I guess, the reveal, so to speak, is when I spoke to Trent. We spoke briefly about music.
So this is the hot gossip.
This is a hot gossip
that you
fresh
teased
off
me
the
on.
Press.
Hot fucking damn.
I don't think anybody said anything about this, because this is probably the first.
This is the first fucking breaking news for anyone who's listening.
Yeah, so we were kind of talking about Munya, and he was like, "Oh yeah," he's like, "I love working with her and everything," and he's like, "I think we're gonna start a project together." So that's the breaking news. So Munya, Josie Boyven, and Trent Prawl are gonna start a project. I'm not sure exactly what it's going to be from his side at the moment. Is he saying he's trying to do disco with psychedelic rock? Maybe something akin to what Kainalu is, but I don't know what Munya wants from it as well. But it looks like they're going to be working on a project together, presumably in the future. I don't know how soon or when that's going to happen, but I think they're probably going to tour together separately, like as themselves at some point.
Okay.
Maybe next year they'll tour together, but the project looks to be the thing that they're going to be doing like down the road. So kind of a little nice little teaser.
And you know what's interesting about that is having already kind of worked together, obviously on her Munya's album.
Yeah, as a producer, yeah.
They have that chemistry already.
They've had it for a minute. Like they've had it since probably 2019, I think, or maybe 2020. So it's been 3 years since they've been working on music together.
Then this kind of seems like it's just, in my opinion at least, the next logical progression for them is to like, oh shit, why don't we just do something together?
Yeah, and the thing, I think there's probably pretty big implications for this because something that's been happening as of late, there's this group called Boy Genius that features a notable artist in her own right. Her name's Phoebe Bridgers.
Yeah.
She started a new super group with this woman named Lucy Dacus or Dacus or something. Lucy Dacus and one other girl. So that was a super group.
Yeah.
And their popularity went
up through the roof. Yeah.
For all of them. So it was kind of like a mutually beneficial thing for all the artists, and it kind of like launched them even further. But there was another instance, and we're talking about like folk country music. There was one local artist here in Southern California. I mean, I think she's from Texas, but she was based here. Her name's Jess Williamson. She kind of did the same thing, but she did it before Boy Genius. She started off as a solo act, just simply known as her name, like Jess Williamson, right?
Yeah.
Music wasn't that popular. I enjoyed it. I thought it was great and everything, but just didn't have the interest or people. There wasn't an audience for it or whatever.
Yeah. There was no mainstream appeal.
So then she collaborated with somebody else, and they started a band, I think, called Trees, if I'm not mistaken. Regardless, the name doesn't matter. The point being that her collaborating with somebody like on her level, this tandem, their popularity went up as well.
Right.
So then now that she's on her own again, making her own album, now people are really interested in her music. So I think so now with Kainalu and Munya, you're taking both audiences, presumably both listening to each of these artists, but you put them in a group together. Like now they can make a really interesting sound together and maybe find an entirely new audience. But even so, just them being together, it just looks good. It's like a stable,
right. Yeah.
So I think who they'll end up working with is so on the Garden album from Munya, Trent's drummer was featured on some of the tracks. So we actually recorded some of the drums for So I imagine if they're gonna make this project, that guy is probably gonna be the drummer, Trent's probably gonna be bass, Munya's probably going to be keys. I don't know what else they're going to add, but maybe it's probably going to be some of the members from Kainalu, the band. Itself.
Maybe, yeah.
But that's kind of my speculation. And the thing I'm kind of wondering about is if they're just going to release this shit on their own, or they're going to put it on Luminell Recordings, which is what Munya is on right now with other artists like Magdalena Bay.
Yeah.
Like if they're going to put their music on that
record label, yeah.
So I don't know, just kind of exciting shit for 2024 if they end up releasing music in that year, or maybe we should just suspect 2025.
I think 2025 probably
more realistic. Yeah.
And then also, well, I mean, listen, if we want to light a fire under their ass, I mean, we could just point out to the prime example of Millennial Frog. I mean, making an album in 1 week, top of the charts. Okay, I mean, if that dickhead can do it, I mean, literally anyone can. But when you talk about the record label, right? So because she's signed with the record label, Munya, does that mean if she goes into another project, is that a whole new different thing? It's like you don't have a deal with anybody this project.
Yeah.
So she could go off and do something different, and as long as she's not,
because I don't think this is something. I don't think there's any kind of arrangement where your future, unless you have a really scumbag record label that says they own all
everything.
Yeah. I don't think whatever she's doing is getting grandfathered into what she's doing.
Well, I mean, that's good. I was just curious.
So I don't know. I think they should find out what they could do by themselves and see how that goes. Because I think they're kind of set. Like I think them by themselves they can figure it out. And Trent, when it comes to the marketing of his music, I mean, shit. yes, he's not fucking Dua Lipa with millions of followers
Sure,
and
yeah.
everything, but the way he markets his music with cool psychedelic visuals and shots of nature and things like that,
Yeah,
it is cool to look at. So
Right.
whatever they end up combining, I'm sure it'll be pretty rad. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm pretty stoked for them to go on this journey together because, man, the way he talks about her is so lovingly and with roses and stuff.
Yeah,
and I'm sure it's the same thing for her. So I would call them like musical soulmates. I would say.
Okay.
So it's very cool. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I have to say, I have having listened to both of them, I do think that, yeah, I agree with you on that. I think that they can do some shit, they can do some good shit together. And I'm stoked for that. That's fucking great. That's awesome. This breaking news, man. I was just, finally, I fucking got it all.
All over the place.
I brain coomed all over the fucking, painted the inside of my house a new color because of this.
So what's your reaction? I mean, was that newsworthy?
Oh.
Was that headline?
I think it is because listen, whether we want to admit it or believe it or not, like we're invested in them.
Yeah.
Because I mean, for the simple fact that we did a full album review on Munya and we talk about her and we talk about Kainalu and obviously, I mean, I'm looking forward in the future to obviously doing the interview.
Oh shit,
with Trent. Like that's gonna be fucking awesome.
Yeah, because then we can ask him like, hey, why are you guys doing this? Like,
right. Yeah, that's something cool. That can be our next breaking news.
Yeah.
As to get the the scoop. Yeah. When, why, motherfucker, you gotta tell us all, baby.
Yeah.
Without censor.
Yeah. So those are the two main things to take away from that night. And we can have an interview with Kainalu at some point.
Yeah.
So if you guys will be on the lookout for that at some point, this new project. So yeah, that more or less wraps up that. And funny enough, I left the venue at some point, like immediately after the set, and I think Johan sent me a text that says, "Hey, dude, check this out." So he shows me a clip of KTLA 5, how there was a car chase like around where we were at. I'm like, damn, dude, I'm kind of glad we left when we did, because who the fuck knows if that guy would have crashed into my car, or maybe he would have been, because it was a stolen car or whatever, and this person was like fleeing. Funny enough, the next morning after the show, which was yesterday, I woke up and I found out my car was broken into. Luckily, nothing was stolen, but I'm like, oh, how funny. It didn't happen over there, but it happened where I live, which is like, I wouldn't say where we live is unsafe.
No, man, listen.
But it was just kind of like, I didn't expect it.
Yeah, well, you live in the nice part of town.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, as do I, but I wouldn't expect that something like that would happen where you live. I mean, yeah, listen, the crackheads like to walk around and fucking flip door handles, and sure, because you, as I don't know if we talked about it on here or not, but you are a fucking psychopath when it comes to locking your car.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say borderline fucking OCD.
Yeah, it probably is at this point.
And really, it's probably just OCD.
Now it's actually going to be escalated, because now I'm going to record video
of you doing it.
Yeah.
So then you'll know.
That's how fucking bad it is now.
Dude, I remember when my car got broken into, fucking, that just pissed me off, because they broke the window. They straight out broke the windows. And the worst part is, I could have shot that dude, man, but I didn't.
You should have.
Nah,
it's kind of like a whole thing, right? Because then you have to explain to the cops.
It's not worth it. Like in the end, and this is kind of the way I've justified it to myself, is shooting this dude because and really all he got was a bag of clothes. Okay, he didn't even get anything good.
Yeah,
but we did scare the fuck out of him. So that was, and we chased him down the street and whatever. But like that was fucking great. But
hey, dude, everything catches up to you in the end.
That's true. So whatever it is what it is. But man, that fucking just that really activated my almonds, as they say. Got me real fucking hot.
Yeah.
And because then you had to go get a new window. At least you didn't get that. At least your window didn't get busted out or anything. That's. I wish those guys were considerate and said, we're gonna break into this guy's car. We're just jimmy the lock or whatever, but we're not gonna break his windows.
Lose change, and I'm still pissed about it, because I use that for when I go to restaurants, and they're like, oh, it's $75, or it's $30 and 75 cents. Boom,
Sweet.
got it.
Damn.
They fucking rotten. Now
Well,
it's an inconvenience.
How much change would you say you had in there?
Man,
Your loose change.
it's got to be at least like $6 or $7 worth.
Fuck, man. They can buy a little bit of crack with that, or a little bit of meth. I mean,
a
you know?
smidge, like
A smidgen.
You ever see that the Three Musketeers with Donald Duck, Goofy, and
Yeah,
Mickey?
yeah.
When Mickey's like slicing the bread and it's just like the thinnest. It's
the
it's
thinnest
basically it's like I'm gonna get the thinnest crack or thinnest slice
meth.
of crack.
Yeah.
That'll get me through 30 seconds.
Yeah. So, but hey, that's 30 seconds they didn't have to,
Yeah.
do without crack or fentanyl or whatever the thing is that's going on hot in the streets now.
Yeah. So the next thing I want to talk about, this one just kind of came up abruptly because we were talking briefly about U2 and stuff, and because they played at that fucking giant
the
circle
dome
sphere thing in Las Vegas.
Isn't it just called the Sphere? Isn't that what it's actually called? I think
I don't fucking know.
It's fucking crazy if you've seen the weird shit because you can rent time on there. And you can
like,
put up whatever you want.
ad?
Yeah, like whatever you want, you can put up there. So somebody rented time and literally waited a giant eyeball, and it was just looking around. It was some creepy fucking shit. But yeah, you can do shit like that.
Interesting.
Man, maybe we should do a game. I wonder how much that cost. There will be a point when it's so cheap that we could even afford it. I think.
Yeah, hopefully it should. That'd be great. If not, just to be an annoyance to people that live in Las Vegas.
Oh yeah,
just being because you've seen videos of it, right?
Oh
There's
yeah,
people posting videos of them wherever they're from Las Vegas. You can see it from all angles.
Oh yeah,
What
it takes
eyesore,
the whole.
dude.
Yeah, man, that is the dumb. I don't think they thought that shit through.
Imagine living in Las Vegas and you're on your second story house or the second story of your house, and all you see is this giant like smiling emoji. What the fuck?
And then think about this too. They could have saved half the cost by only doing the screens on the inside of the venue and that would have been cool in and of itself. Just the inside, like the thing with U2, because I've seen other shows that they've done that, not them, but other people have done there, and they utilize it in a very cool and innovative way with the whole thing with the show. And you didn't have to put all the screens on the outside of the goddamn thing. It could have just been a ball that sat there and whatever. That's all you need to know. You don't need to fucking have all this crazy shit on the outside. But
it's fucking Vegas.
It is. Yeah, that's true. So anyways, all right. So
yeah. So while we're on the subject of U2, so one thing that I found that was rather interesting was they came out with a song called Atomic City, and coincidentally, the cover art looks like it was made by a fucking 13-year-old if they were starting a band, because they have something that kind of looks reminiscent of the Sphere from Las Vegas.
Right, yeah.
But it's not.
Yeah.
And, it's just kind of coincidental that they happen to be the first band, and the cover art of their single features a giant ass sphere or whatever. But the main thing that I had to say about that single, besides being boring and just crap, is that the structure of the song, the chord progressions, I think they're called callbacks, when you say something and the last word is repeated by the band itself.
Oh, okay.
Like the backing vocals. And even like the beat is similar enough. I'm like, this straight up sounds like Call Me from fucking Blondie.
Yeah. I saw your post on it.
Yeah.
I was like,
what do you think? Is that a stretch or whatever?
No, I agree with you. It's very similar. I don't know. I don't know if there's enough there to say that they straight ripped it off, but it sounds eerily similar.
Yeah, and it wasn't just this song. I've been listening to K-Rock just to hear what they're playing, and there was this. I got to find out because they play the same songs like every fucking day.
Yeah,
but there's one song that I hear that sounds exactly like "Enjoy the Silence" from Depeche Mode, and I'm like, I got to find out who that band is because that sounds exactly like that song. And there's another song that sounds like this guy. Do you remember Gautier? Somebody
that I used to know.
Somebody made a song that almost it's like a Members Mark version of that, but they they're making their own song or whatever, but just the melody is just a little bit off. I'm like, but it sounds like somebody I used to know. I'm just thinking, I'm like, man, I can understand why people feel as though things currently in music are repetitive, like they feel like things from the past. But if they only listen to things like K-Rock I can understand why they get that impression.
Yeah.
But I do think there's probably been more original music than ever before. I mean, not all of it is great, but at least it's original.
True.
And people are being like blinded by their own taste in music because I mean, where do most people get their music? Like Spotify,
Yeah.
the radio, and I think that's kind of like a limited perspective of music itself. Like, I think really challenging yourself to find things could lead you to what you really want, or maybe things that you never really considered or expected to like.
Yeah.
But yeah, YouTube is becoming. Do you remember that scene from since you have seen that movie called A Star Is Born?
Oh,
with, with Lady Gaga.
Right.
So that guy Sam Elliott.
Uh-huh.
He said something along the lines that any artist has the capability of writing a song, and all they have is 12 notes. There's 12 notes, and I think a bar or whatever the fuck he said. He's like, and that's all they got for their life. Those between those 12 notes, every artist can do that, but that's what they're going to be known for. And I think that's to say that it's not the case for every band, but for AC/DC, right? For AC/DC, they're gonna write the same shit over and over. People are gonna eat it up. And I thought that was kind of what the guy was trying to say, is that eventually you get to that point where you're repeating yourself is kind of more of the thing. And I'm like, oh, here we are again with music, well, at least on radio, that we're repeating ourselves with new bands that are trying to emulate. And it's good and bad. Like, it's good because people, or rather bands that are starting out, maybe they try to sound like fucking Metallica when they start out, but then they evolve into something else. But some bands never dare to like evolve or be bold in some way and take things in a different direction.
Right.
Like, that's how you get new genres and shit. But just hearing some of the stuff on the radio, man, it just definitely could see why people get the impression that music's dead, it's boring, fuck all that, and they stick to their Depeche Modes, they stick to their Smiths, they stick to their AC/DCs, they stick to their fucking Kendrick Lamars or Kanye's, or
the Drakes
or whatever. Well, I don't know. What do you got to say about that?
I think that it goes to the popularity contest, essentially, that music has become. And like what you were saying about being on the radio and listening to what K-Rock has, and fucking, it's just all the same shit. It's all the same shit over and over again. And the reason why it's the same shit over and over again, in my opinion, is because that same shit is fucking popular. It sells. They know it's low risk. It's very low stakes. Hey man, we know that if we could play this same variation of this fucking song that we know worked, but just change it a little bit different, or change it up just a little bit, oh man, we'll make some good money. We know this will fucking happen. So yeah, I agree with you on that. And one of the things that, well, I don't know, this is probably a separate topic, but I don't know if it's even a topic, to be honest with you. But did you have any more? Were you going anywhere with additionally with that, or
no? That was just kind of like a
observation.
Yeah, an observation that I encountered. I'm like, oh, fucking even U2's doing it.
Yeah,
I mean, they kind of were a band that had a unique direction in their sound,
right?
But now even they are becoming repetitive. And
yeah, well, they're also old as fuck too, so maybe they just don't. They're not trying anymore, and they're like, yeah, fuck it, let's just get some money.
And it's weird because there's bands like I don't even know if you like Radiohead, but Radiohead is one of those bands, and I don't know if I sound like a mark, but that band has consistently evolved throughout all their albums, and I don't see why they would stop now. But there's such an anomaly to music because they're daring to take their music in new directions, and everybody's welcome to that change, like, because they just expect it from them at this point.
Yeah, and
not every band can even do that. Like, they could see beyond what they were doing previously. Like, okay, I mean, some things that were said about the Strokes, if you've ever listened to them, was that their second album, called Room on Fire, was too similar to their first album.
Okay,
and then they decided to make their third album called First Impressions of Earth, and it was drastically different, and not everybody was receptive to it. So it's like people simultaneously don't and do want change, and when it happens, they're like, why don't you make stuff like your first? So it's like people don't really know what they want, and it's kind of funny. But there are instances where where bands are capable of creating change within themselves, like to change up their sounds completely with bands like Radiohead. I can't think of other ones, but I would love to. I would love for that to be the template for a lot of projects that people just. Not only are we evolving as human beings like
Right.
throughout time, like do we go from a kid to being an adult to being a senior, whatever? Like bands should do the same, and you know, that way they're
Yeah.
not fucking. That way they're not pigeonholing themselves in their own sound, like that they can do other things and all that. But I don't know if I have anything else to add. So what were you gonna get at?
Oh, one of the things I was gonna get is just an interesting. I don't know if it's an observation or something that I made the other day. I was thinking about because Katie had brought up. She was telling me something about Lindsey Sterling. All right,
The violinist that does the dances,
right? Yeah. And so she said, "Oh man, look at her! Like she's got backup dancers and backup singers now, and she's like just fucking just gangbusters or whatever, right?"
Okay.
And so it got me like thinking. It just got me thinking. You remember like, fuck, man, what was it? Maybe 10 years ago, ish, and we
Okay.
went to the House of Blues in
I didn't
downtown
go.
Disney. Didn't you go?
I didn't go
Are you sure?
because I'm gonna be honest. I'm a snob, and I would never fucking go to that.
Well, this was before she was even. Oh, you just wouldn't go to the House of Blues.
No, I just
but
wouldn't. No, I wouldn't go to see her. Period. Because I
You just
I
don't
knew
like
her
violin music.
I know her music.
Yeah.
but I just never.
But that was like honestly though. But that was just before she was even fucking popular really at all. That was just kind of in the beginning stages of her, like And now, granted, it's very what's the word I'm looking for here? It's very mellow. It's very the music. It's just it's violining or whatever. What is that? Orchestral.
Violining? Yeah. All right.
It's fucking orchestral, I guess, is the lack of. I don't know what the fuck the word is, but
Yeah.
it's instrumental. There you go. That's maybe the word.
She does singing too, right?
Yeah, she does a little bit of that. Now, when we went and saw that, I don't think that she fucking did. I don't think she was really doing a lot of singing. I think it was mainly
Just the violin.
the violining stuff. But it just got me interested. It just got me thinking about, man, like, now granted, that is literally the only fucking concert I've ever fucking been to.
Yikes.
And
No,
yeah, well, but here's the thing. That was something that before, granted, you didn't fucking give a shit about it, but I mean, that's something that, man, even however long ago, and I got to see this girl kind of like, I got to see a taste of the Adam life, right? Oh man, I found this, I think one of our other friends actually found it or found out about her. But it's like, oh, we got to see this before it really became this huge mainstream thing, right? Which now, as we're doing and following these bands, we're kind of on that same thing. Like, oh man, 10 years from now, they're gonna be playing arenas or some shit, right? And it just kind of got me thinking, like, damn. Obviously, yeah. Oh, it would have been great back then if we were fucking really serious about doing this shit, and oh man, talk to her or whatever, and then when she's playing arenas or whatever the case is, oh cool, man, then we get to talk to her again, and it's just, I don't know, it's just interesting to see how shit goes, and how even in the past when we weren't even fucking, this wasn't even a fucking concept, this wasn't even a fucking sperm in the ball sack of our minds,
Yeah.
and already things were happening in the past that kind of, oh man, this is something that in the future might be a thing for you. You're going to get to, you're going to be talking about music or whatever. And like I said, it's only fucking concert. We gotta go to fucking, you gotta broaden my horizons, obviously.
Yeah.
Cause fucking, I don't know fucking shit
Yeah.
about fucking music or concerts, but yeah.
I guess I feel like I could take this in a few interesting.
Oh,
directions.
sure. Let's go with it.
So when I was younger, like in my early 20s, because I mean, as much as I was listening to music now or even back then,
yeah,
I would say I'm just as vigilant now as I was back then. But I never felt. I mean, there was music happening. Yeah, like there was local bands and shit that were happening in the 2010s up until this point.
Yeah,
but now that I think about it, like none of those bands that I didn't think there was a whole lot going on here 1 decade ago.
Right.
And now it feels like
completely different.
Now it feels like there's great things everywhere. They're not just here in Southern California, but just in general. But
yeah,
if I am going to speak about Southern California, it feels like there's great bands in fucking San Diego, Inland Empire, OC,
yeah,
Orange County, Los Angeles County, and even like other parts, even Oxnard to me feels like one of those breeding grounds for great music. Like I've heard different things from Oxnard that I didn't expect. Like I've heard hardcore or metal bands playing or coming out of there.
Yeah.
I've heard soul music come out of there. Obviously, Los Retros, Mowdy, like he lives in that area, so like he's probably like one of the more notable people from that area. And this guy named Cola Boy, but the guy's made music for at least 2 years now. I don't even know if he's I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that guy, but nonetheless,
Yeah.
Oxnard itself, to me, is becoming one of those places that is becoming equivalent to fucking like Los Angeles itself, a greater area. Well, Los Angeles greater area, and even Orange County. Like I think you give it a few more years, and more people are just going to be coming from fucking Oxnard that are going to be top acts or something. We'll see. But even I guess a decade ago, where was I going to go with this? I had something else to add about shit a decade ago. I mean, dude, yeah, it would have been fucking great if we started 10 years ago, just so we can have all these experiences, just to have the just to have the knowledge of like things that were happening in music up until this point. Because dude, I bet you we could have 10 times as more interesting conversations
fuck yeah,
just from knowing everything back then.
But here's the thing that I also think about too.
I don't want to. I don't want to reminisce about things either. Like
yeah.
I like being forward thinking.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
So you bringing up that subject, I'm like, yes, that could have been a thing, but I also don't question like why we're doing this now. Like,
no, true. Yeah, I'm not saying that either. But I'm also, this is to flip it with the inverse side of that. If we would have been doing this back then and had that, I don't think we would have known what the fuck to do with it. I feel like now it took the experience of us doing whatever we were doing for the last 10 years to get to the point now where, okay, now we're a little more matured. We're a little more seasoned. We know we kind of know what to do with this, even though we really don't know what the fuck we're doing, but we at least have a better idea to make it better and more entertaining for fucking people, I think.
Yeah. And I did have something else to add about kind of tying what you were talking about in 12 notes. 12 notes thing from Star is Born.
Right.
There was a band. This is going to tie all three things together. We're talking about the echo. We're talking about being repetitive, like the 12 notes thing from Stars Reborn. We're talking about things that happened a decade ago. There's this band called Fits of the Tantrums.
Yeah, I heard of them.
I think when I was like 19 or 20, I went to go see them at the Echo for their first, I think their first residency ever. They were just kind of like they were a neo soul revival band. And I mean, shit, they blew that place off. I mean, there was probably like 50 to, I don't know what the number was. Let's just say somewhere between 50 to 100 people.
Yeah.
But the times that we went back, I think they were practically like packing the place. But from where they started, which was like their first EP, I think it was called like Songs for Breakup or something, and then they came out with their first album. Their sound was that soul revival sound,
right? And
then they started evolving to pop and doing away with like the saxophone, which was like a really prominent thing. And I thought they were gonna kind of catapult, to some point, like to be global, like a global sensation, but they kind of petered out like in the last couple of years, and their music has just become straight fucking garbage. Like it doesn't have any of the appeal that it had before. And I hope I'm not sounding like an asshole and saying that their stuff was better before, but I mean, when you become part of like the pop genre, that your music it becomes more impersonal,
right?
And their music like lost its personality, and it
becomes pasteurized, homogenized, fucking, appeals to the lowest common denominator. Yeah, that's kind of what that stuff does.
So now, I mean, shit, it's just not what it used to be. And I'm like, oh man, I used to love this man. Now 10 years later, I'm just like, this is straight garbage, dude. What the fuck happened? Yeah. Like, you guys used to be so interesting. And yeah, dude. And it's just kind of sad because that's a band that kind of sure, they got everything they wanted out of their career. I'm sure they got some nice
The
pays
money,
and everything,
yeah.
but they really have capitulated, and they are like a relic of 2010s. Like the 2010s, it's over. Like it's now that they're trying to evolve their sound, it's like no, it doesn't work because you were never that to begin with, or whatever you want to call it. But
Right.
I don't know. Just I guess if you're ever a band, dude, just don't don't challenge yourself. You know, like I mean,
Yeah.
try to go beyond your limits and don't give a fuck what anybody else thinks.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't know, man. I miss that band, and just we'll see how we talk about some of the shit that we're listening to now.
Let's
like
see.
like as a time, because it's a time capsule,
Yeah.
right? Like, are we right? Are we right about? I mean, dude, if we're talking about acts that I think will stand the test of time, because I hope that's what we're doing. I hope we're looking at artists that are doing their thing and really trying to I feel that Genesis Owusu,
Oh, dude, yeah.
without a doubt, is one of those artists that people will talk about for years to come, just because we haven't really seen anything like him before, and maybe there won't be anything like him afterwards, because his brand of whatever you want to call it, like alternative rap or alternative hip hop, I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. And the way he presents the project is just it's fucking dope. And
yeah, it is. It's sweet. And I don't know. I don't know what the word is that you can call it for, but I don't know what the likelihood of longevity is for having to constantly, because I mean, both of those albums, in my opinion, push the fucking envelope completely. And I don't know how many times, I don't know if there's a limit to the number of times you can continually do that. Yeah, because you're going to eventually have some misses. You're eventually going to have, I feel like statistically you're never going to bat 1,000.
You're going to have diminishing returns over the course of your career.
Right. And so it just would be very interesting to see, of the people or of the bands and the acts that we're seeing now, that we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
We're on because of you, we are on the bleeding edge of music in really the world, to be honest, not just in Southern California, but worldwide. With Jocoteen's a great example of that. So I think it would be very interesting to see, 10 years from now, where are they at? What are they doing? Did they go? Did Jocoteen make it to the mainstream, or did she peter out fucking somewhere on the independent circuit?
Dude,
and fucking,
I feel like, I mean, we already kind of talked about it, but
right.
I've been thinking about this, and this isn't me retaliating or being mean or anything, but I've given it a lot of thought, man, and now I'm kind of concerned that she's 17 years old. It's like I said, this is something that we talked about. But a teen sensation, in my opinion.
Right, yeah.
And there's still so much to go, right? She's like 16 or 17 at this point. And she has her whole life ahead of her, but she's also very fucking young. And and there hasn't been a case where good things have happened with teenage stars.
Well, look, and not to say that there isn't the possibility of good things to happen with them, but the unfortunate overwhelming majority is that it generally goes bad. And I mean, listen, I fucking see her shit on Instagram and everything. I mean, she's in Paris. She's in fucking traveling the world, which is fucking awesome for someone that young. But what does that say? How does that set you up for the rest of your life? You know what I'm saying? Like,
well,
I don't know.
Here's the other part that was kind of interesting. So there's this not YouTube channel. There's this Instagram account called Eat Predators.
Okay.
And it was started by this woman, and she is talking about her experiences. I think she was diddled at Nickelodeon or something. But now this
while working at Nickelodeon as a child star.
I think so.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken. But this has now evolved to people in music where well, actually no, I might be mistaking her for somebody else, but this girl was sexually assaulted by an artist named Rhye, Rhye. And since that point, she's been trying to get like justice for herself. But now other people have come out and talked about, music executives or even other artists that they've been the victim of like sexual assault or rape or whatever. And I found there was one instance. I think there was a post that was from Epic Records. So
Mhm.
that's the record label that
Yeah.
Jocko Teen is part of. So I'm like, oh shit, that's not good. I mean, I don't know if there's just I don't want to say there's a rampant problem within their own employees, but if it exists, if somebody's mentioned it before,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh shit, now I'm a little concerned. Like, if Jocko Teen signed to that record label, who's to say that there's some music executive? Hey,
Some weird shit doesn't go on behind the scenes.
yeah,
You know?
like, hey, you can get a little bit further ahead if you
if you do A, B, and C.
You do me a favor.
Yeah.
And favor
Right.
B, yeah. I mean, you can kind of imagine where I'm going with that, but that's the thing I'm concerned with. 10 years down the road, will Jocko Teen be okay by herself? Like,
Yeah.
as an adult, will she will she be the victim of some music executive, and that'll be like a fucking headline? That's what I'm thinking about now. So,
Man, I sure hope not, because fuck, that's just unfortunate. And it's fucking unfortunate that we have to even fucking talk about this, because it's a fucking real thing. It's not
I'm not making this up to just
get
make
clicks or some shit.
to just make this a topic or
No.
whatever. Like, if that was my little sister, or
Yeah.
if that was my fucking kid, I'm not even sure if I would ever have a kid that would want to play music. If they do, they're going to do it all themselves. Nobody's going to be involved.
Yeah.
Or if somebody's going to be involved, it's got to be like somebody you trust wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
But it's a record label, dude. They're not.
No.
It's all business, man. Like, and maybe a little bit more. So we'll see. I think I think. Would you be interested in turning this into like a new segment?
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay,
yeah,
so there's this guy. His name is George Clanton.
Okay.
He's kind of an interesting cat.
All right.
The way I would summarize him, I've thought about this for a minute.
You've thought about the fucking general description of this fella? Is it
yes,
that?
because he's like a very easygoing fella, right?
Okay.
He's very my description of him is, if you've ever met a stoner kid in your school, the one that got along with all the teachers and got along with all the students, and the only reason he graduated was because everybody liked him, that is George Clanton, dude. Like, I love the guy, like his music and everything, but he's just like this really mellow. I don't actually know if he smokes weed or not, or whatever, but he's just, his ambience, his aura when he performs is just like, you could become instant friends with him, right?
Okay.
The music itself is kind of interesting, so I kind of wanted to maybe take a break so we can listen to maybe a few tracks from George Clanton, just to hear what your thoughts are, because this guy makes his own brand of music, and while he's not somebody that is like a international sensation, like The Weeknd or something like that,
right,
I think people are gonna talk about him for his own true original music.
Right. Okay.
So what I'd like to do is just take a break for a second, and we'll listen to a few tracks from George Clanton, some of my favorite tracks. And then we'll get back to you people shortly afterwards, and then you could tell me what your experience with George Clanton
All right.
is.
So how do you spell it? George, what is it? CL, or is it KL? How do you spell it?
CLANTON.
You think he's on iTunes? George Clanton.
He should be.
All right. Let's see.
So we're just gonna listen to his first album called 100% Electronica. There's probably 2 or 3. Actually, we might get one from Slide. We'll listen to a couple.
200% Electronica?
No, 100%.
Oh shit! Is that the sequel? 200%? Oh, that's fucking genius.
Yeah.
I guess let's click this one.
Yes.
All right. So, how many tracks do you want to listen to?
Maybe we'll listen to Warm Spot, and also this other song called Makes the Babies Want to Cry. Okay. And then we'll listen to another one called
oh wait, this is not the original. This is the fucking bonus track version. Hold on, let me...
Warm Spot and
okay, Warm Spot makes the babies want to cry. Okay.
Yeah, and then there's one on Slide that we'll check out.
All right. So we'll listen to one at a time, or do you want to just do all 3 of them and then we'll come back and just talk about them?
Do you want to do it one at a time? That way we can, if nobody has listened to George Clanton before.
Yeah, they could listen along, I guess.
Yeah, so then it'll kind of be
Yeah,
like the album review
a little bit, but
yeah.
we'll just do we're like when we introduce each other to new music those
Yeah,
times. Yeah, it'll be like that. Okay, all
Okay,
right.
so we'll start off with Warm Spot. If you haven't listened to it before, this is the cue to pause the podcast and then, or rather, pause the episode and then listen to Warm Spot from George Clanton.
Yeah, and if you've got the old iTunes, if you're a fellow Apple aficionado and you join the right team, you can go on the iTunes.
Yeah, I'm not even going to give you a description of the music itself because you'll
I know nothing about it.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so this is George Clanton off of his album 100% Electronica. This is Warm Spot we're going to listen to. Here we go. All right, so yeah, okay. So that was Warm Spot by George Clanton. You know, that was pretty fucking interesting.
Yeah.
I have to say, you know, and one of the things that I guess now I can kind of talk about as also a recording artist as well.
Millennial Frog.
This is what I imagine Millennial Frog would be with words. Like,
yes, dude. Okay. This is actually I've been wanting to bring this up to you at some point,
yeah,
but I didn't know where this would fit in the show.
Yeah.
But since we just kind of did it haphazardly, I thought, okay, hearing what you do, I mean, you don't have a ton of experience. You're just kind of like,
I'm an idiot.
Yeah. But I thought if there was a template to follow, like
it would be this.
George Clanton,
yeah.
like it'd be George Clanton. And to kind of give like a brief description about him. So this shit came out like in the early 2010s, right?
Okay.
And I heard it when it first came out, like 100% Electronica. I think it came out like 2015 or 2014. I can't remember. I wasn't ready for it. Like when I was 25, I'm like, I don't understand this. And then I think somewhere around 2019 or 2020, I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then I just kind of fell in love with it. It took me 5 years to figure out, for me to enjoy his music.
Right,
because it's very fucking weird. Like it's vaporwave music with like rap and singing. It's got all that mixed in together, and I don't know if there's anything like this dude. And sure, he's not somebody that is gonna be a Weekend or whatever, but he's just so original that I think people, when they look back, like when you look back on those artists that everybody, like one artist that everybody is kind of invested in now because of this artist named Biba Doobie.
Okay.
She's kind of like this alternative rock girl or whatever. She credits Pavement as one of the bands that is inspiring to her, right?
Uh-huh.
Maybe the band at the time wasn't all that popular, but George Clanton, I feel like, is something similar to that vein where he had, he's doing all right for himself.
Right,
he's doing great. Like he has his own record label. He plays shows all the time and stuff. But like I said, he's not the Weeknd. But I think people will look back and say, if the next generation of artists are like, oh man,
True.
George fucking Clanton, that was the fucking dude that was doing something that nobody else was doing.
All right.
Innovators.
Yeah.
But for you, when you made music, I thought, okay, if Josh gets any better at music, that it'll be something akin to what George Clanton does.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think that's kind of like I said, the second this started, that's the first fucking thing that I was like, because like I was like, oh, this could be a Millennial Frog song, and then I was like, okay, and then when you started singing, I was like, this is what it sounds like with words. Fuck, man, this is the inspiration. Now, granted, I'm not a vocalist, but my wife is, so hey, maybe who knows? Maybe Millennial Frogette comes into play here.
It's like Miss Pac. It would be like Miss Pac-Man and Pac-Man.
Mr. Pac-Man. So okay. On the thing of you saying, about, innovation and pushing the envelope, right? Okay. As I'm also listening to this, I got a fucking idea in my head about who would be fucking amazing to see George Clanton fucking team up with to maybe do an album.
Who?
Fucking Genesis Owusu, man. Like, if the two of them got together, like if they made a stable, talking about stables, okay, or a tag team, if you will, that'd be fucking sweet as shit. And now, granted, I don't know either of those guys, but I don't know if either of them know each other or know of each other even. Who knows? Maybe they don't. But that would be fucking sweet if you could get the innovative aspects of both of those guys. And now, granted,
just come out with something completely fucking
totally
weird.
fucking never heard of before.
Yeah,
that would be fucking just shit, if we could just get those two guys in a room to talk to each other, hell, if they don't even end up collaborating, fine. But just the ideas that you could see bounce off of each other that could maybe influence each other to go do something even more fucking ridiculous or envelope pushing.
Not ridiculous in a negative connotation, but just
right?
like,
No, but in a good way,
just out there.
Yeah, and fuck, man, but that would be sweet as shit, man. To see fucking Genesis Owusu and fucking this guy team up, man, that'd be cool as shit.
I think you're gonna like this next song because I would say maybe this is his most popular song.
There is a star next to it on this, so that means it's a very popular.
You know what's funny? So I was listening to this song and it's kind of got the same beat. You'll hear it, but if you put this song with Check Yourself from Ice Cube, they would actually go really well together.
If it was a mashup, if somebody did a mashup of this song, and
not even a mashup, just played sequentially.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you heard them back to back, you're like, oh, this kind of goes nice together. Yeah.
All right.
So
you know what? We're gonna do that. We're gonna play this, and then we're gonna play Check Yourself also. So do that. We're gonna play. It makes the babies want to cry, and then right after we're gonna play. We're not even gonna come back. We're gonna play Check Yourself.
Yeah.
And then we'll fucking
reconvene.
We'll reconvene. All right. So here we go. Okay. All right. Now it's going. All right. That was George Clanton. It makes the babies want to cry, and also Check Yourself by Ice Cube.
Yeah.
And man, that was a good song. It makes babies want to cry. I enjoyed it. And you're right. It does have a similar, or it's a complementary. I don't know if it's similar, but it's complementary beat pattern to Check Yourself. It goes well. You could do like one of those DJ fucking
you could
things to it, and it would fucking work.
Like have George Clanton's
where
vocals
it goes or the vice versa. Yeah, you could do that. That'd be fucking kind of cool. Maybe I should try that and see if I can make that happen.
Yeah. So this is probably his most popular song, I imagine, but so now we're gonna get swerved because Slide is like a little bit different from this album.
Okay.
But or at least one of the tracks is so shit, let me look up the track that I wanted to show you because this one's radically different from the ones that we've heard.
yeah.
Sorry, we got a little bit of radio silence.
No, it's fine. And then also, just while you're sitting here listening, Adam came across another interesting thing that we'll talk about after this.
Yes. Okay, it's Living Loose.
Living Loose.
So we'll talk about it after this song.
After Living Loose, yeah. All right, so this will be Living Loose, George Clanton. George Clanton. All right, that was Living Loose, George Clanton. And yeah, that one definitely was drastically different from the previous two. Not in a bad way, though. I mean, it was still enjoyable and good. It's just, different.
Yeah, that guy's I think when an artist makes music that they eventually care what people think. I'm sure they care about what people think in general, but this guy is so himself. Like he can't help but make original music, and I feel like that'll be the case for all time. That he just, whenever he puts things out, he'll always be himself, and that's not the case for every artist. Like,
true,
once you reach a certain point, you're like, oh man, do I have it in me to make something that's good, or like, what should I make things that people like, or should I make what I like? Those are the questions you ask yourself. And for George Clanton, I don't even think that even phases him. He just
grind head down.
Put shit out and see what happens,
and just keeps on fucking keeping on.
Yeah. So I think part of the reason why I was showing you him because I wanted to see what you think about his music, and also if I had a lane to pick for you, like this is I think where you would end up because George Clanton is very much like the Eric Bischoff thing.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, I know this guy's not a great vocalist, but he masks the weaknesses away and he highlights what he does well.
Right. You hide the weakness,
interesting,
accentuate the positive. Yeah.
I love how I butchered that. I made the Members Mark version of that.
It's all right. That's what I'm here for.
So this guy obviously knows how to make cool beats, music that feels ethereal and weird.
Yeah.
And he has like these drowned out vocals and stuff, but he doesn't exceed that because he knows he can't hit like really high notes.
Right.
But he adds cool effects to his vocals to make it interesting.
Yeah.
But it all just kind of works together. It's kind of like a soup. It just all these
Yeah,
things
yeah.
really kind of tie together. So that's where I see if you end up refining Millennial Frog more, that's what you like. Yeah.
Well, this probably could be its own fucking episode in and of itself, to be honest
Yes,
with you.
we're gonna do a Millennial Frog interview.
Yeah, and I will say though that I was kind of thinking about, okay, where am I gonna go after this second album that I'm currently finishing up, and the next logical choice for me was vocals. Including vocals. Now, whether it's me doing it or whether I have Katie doing some or what, maybe I have everybody fucking just do stuff. Who cares? And see what happens, and just put weird fucking filters on them and just see what it could go.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the next. So I do think it's gonna come out something like you said. The blueprint is this.
Yeah.
It'll hopefully
It'll be
different enough.
Yeah.
But this is like the baseline of, okay, this is kind of what I should be trying to emulate, I guess.
Yes.
With my own, flair on it, I suppose. So,
all right. So, that more or less wraps up the segment for some music that we hopefully introduce you to, or if you haven't, or if you've listened to George Clanton.
Yeah.
This is just kind of a
refresher,
a reintroduction.
Yeah.
So I came across some interesting information.
So
not
indeed.
only
well, I don't know, but yeah, go ahead.
The Oracle speaks.
Oh, hi. Here he comes.
Yes.
Here he comes. Everyone, turn off your fucking mouths and open your ear holes.
And opened your third eye.
The third eye has opened into the next dimension. The Oracle will be speaking fucking truths and facts. Here we go.
Okay. Something Specials.
Yeah.
I reached out to them.
Okay.
Not knowing if they would or
right,
not.
correct.
But they reached back to me.
Oh, they responded.
Yes.
Wait a minute. You said earlier in the episode they hadn't responded. So during this episode of recording, they have responded.
Yes.
Holy shit. And
Yeah.
what pray tell?
Oh, good Lord.
Could they have
great
said?
One. Oh, great one. You have blessed me once more. And the great one is The Rock.
Of course.
So I will read it as
is. As written.
is.
All right.
Hey, it's me, Taylor, the lead vocalist. Thanks so much for reaching out. I actually know Hallie from Lady Appletree, which is the artist I was just talking about.
How coincidental.
How coincidental.
What a fucking coinky dink, as they say.
And something that I wrote in the message, this long-winded message that I wrote, I said, hey, you are fucking great. I don't know too many like local folk rock, soft rock bands.
Yeah.
But of the artists that I know, Lady Appletree is somebody that you need to reach out to. So it's just very funny
that she already knows her.
She already knows her. So I actually know Hallie, Lady Appletree. That's sweet. I would love to share a bill with her one day soon. Just moved out here in February. Hopefully get some more shows going. The rest of the band lives in New York, but hopefully we can figure out shows for the future. So
so she's the one, she's the lead vocalist, you said, right? So she lives out here and everybody else lives in New York. Maybe they're all coming out here our way, perhaps.
Yeah. But nonetheless, the more interesting information was that she knew this artist, and my intuition, my fucking intuition, is that fucking weird or what?
That's pretty weird.
Yeah.
But let's take that weirdness.
Yeah.
And let's do something. Let's turn it into a benefit. Okay.
All right.
So what if, not that, as unlikely as it may be, what if eventually we put on a Game Rage fucking whatever show, we get the Something Specials, and maybe also Lady Appletree, and then maybe Munya and fucking whatever that thing is.
Oh my god, I told him that, but here, okay. When I told him that, when I told Munya and
Trent,
I said, "Hey, dude, I want to do shows with you," and like, "Oh yeah, well, definitely 20." I mean, they kind of left it open.
You sure open ended,
open ended, like what they actually said.
They're not going to commit, obviously.
Yeah, they're not going to commit.
Yeah. Understandable.
Which makes a lot more sense in retrospect why they did this, because they were already. When I said I want to be the person that puts you guys together, because you guys have never actually met, I want to be the person that does that because I care. Like I want to see you guys together performing. that was 6 months ago. So when I asked them shortly after the show, like, maybe a week after I posted the interview or whatever, whenever I posted the interview, I reached out to Munya and said, hey, like, I want to make this happen. I want to have you both. Now knowing that they probably had the show that I just went to in their pocket, probably 6 months in advance. So they were kind of like, no, they politely said no or left it open ended because they already had.
They were already doing it. Yeah.
And so I don't know. Maybe if we entrench ourselves further with Trent, and like we get to know him a little bit better, maybe we can make it happen. I don't know how that will.
Again, regardless of the likelihood, great things don't happen when great fucking dreams don't take place.
Right.
All right. So you gotta dream big to go big.
Yeah.
So although the unlikelihood of it happening may be great, fuck it. It's worth talking about.
This is weird, man.
Man, I don't know, man.
This is really strange. Because we've talked about, this is gonna turn to like BFN-esque segment, but we're talking about like affirmations and shit.
Man.
Like, why did this fucking happen
while
now?
we're doing this?
Yes, and yes, I'm not joking. This in fact actually happened.
Yeah, right as
in the midst of us doing
recording
this episode, and she said, oh yes, I know this person that you're talking about that seemingly have no reason to know each other, but they do.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. That's how good my
Oracle.
Yes, Oracle
fucking Adam.
Yeah. So shit, I ain't got nothing else to add.
I don't even think we need to do anything else. I mean, we might be able to retire right here just off of that.
Yeah.
We're not going to, but damn, that's awesome. That's good. Good shit.
I'm like, okay, I would love to get 130, but we got 126, which is
120. Don't worry, it's gonna wait. What's 126 and what? Oh, it's almost 127. I can talk for 3 more minutes and fucking talk about our social medias and the other podcasts that people could go and support.
All right, in the midst of you doing that, I'll see if I can stretch that out. I'll think of another like quick tidbit to. Oh, okay, I actually do have.
Here we go. All right,
okay, all right. So this is 2 weeks from now, but if you are looking to attend a show, I just found out through a post that 2 bands that I really enjoy happen to be on the same bill together, and that's this band called Bubble Tea and Cigarettes. They've been around since 2020, been following their music pretty much since the first single, but it just so happened to be that one of the bands I really enjoy that's around here locally is a band called Chin Chin. So these 2 bands are going to be playing at this place called the El Cid on Sunset Boulevard, and it's a small, like, intimate venue. I don't think it can hold more than 100 people, but nonetheless, both these bands are fucking great. And if you're looking for something to do on December 14th, I don't know what day that falls on. Shit. Well, nonetheless, that's the day. So I highly recommend you check out both these bands because they're both fucking awesome. It's on December 14th. It's at a small, intimate venue, and I'm sure people are gonna talk about it for years to come. If you don't miss the opportunity to experience this great music while you can, and also think about this. If you get in early on bands, you don't have to pay more later down the road with a band like Blink-182 where you're paying fucking $100. You get in early and you start seeing them like as soon as they happen. Like, because you
already seen it.
If you know what's good, you go see it as it happens.
Yeah.
Don't wait fucking 30 years or 15 years.
And then have to pay fucking quadruple
the amount.
Yeah.
And you could say you're better than everybody else because you knew them back then.
That's true. Yeah. Of course. Yeah. You get that added bonus fucking bragging rights.
Yeah.
And
so once again, Chin Chin, Bubble Tea, and Cigarettes.
I just want to say, okay, Bubble Tea and Cigarettes.
Yeah.
Great fucking name.
Okay. Their first song,
man.
So I don't know if they do this as a ruse, like they think it's funny, but their first song, I think is called 5 a.m. Empanada with You. Like fucking random title, right?
Yeah,
like
man.
I don't know what the deal with that is, but their songs are very sweet and mellow and shit. But their title, like the band itself, the title is just funny. Like it's
fucking
cute.
hilarious.
It's cute, yeah. So anyways, that does it for me.
Fucking okay. One other. I don't know if I told you this band name that I got in my head for something or this name. I don't know what we could use it for.
Okay.
But this dude that I know, he turned me on to this term, which it's funny. I mean, it's not funny the reason how he figured out this or how he came across this term.
Okay.
But it's in like this form when you have somebody, like when you try to get somebody committed there's like this checklist, like like a mental institution. There's like a checklist of like questions and things you ask, right?
All right, yeah.
And so it through the story, the current person that he is going through legal proceedings with had threatened to do this form on him or whatever. And so he was like, what the fuck is this form? And so he Googled it. And so he was looking at all the things on there. And one of the things on there, which I was like, dude, that's a fucking great band name. Poverty of content. Like that's a term that's on there that if you check that box, you get like a point. And then if you get a certain number of points, then you can be legally committed to whatever.
Poverty of content. That's like System of a Down.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
that's fucking great.
It is literally the poverty version of System of a Down.
Yeah.
It's Members Mark, System of a Down, poverty of content.
Poverty of content, dude. That is good. That'd be great. Like, you know when you see metal bands with like the flared out text?
Oh,
like
man.
It looks like blood streaming.
And if
or whatever.
you had that poverty of content, I'm gonna make a fucking design with that just to fucking see what it looks like, because that'd be fucking
or even
hilarious.
like Metallica, like
that thing.
Poverty of content. Yeah.
So we got to use that for fucking something.
Dude, that is so good. Oh my God.
I don't know what we could use it for because it would go great as a band name or as a metal band.
Poverty of content.
Fuck, maybe we name that the Game Rage presents Poverty of Content.
Poverty
the show,
of content, yeah.
And it's just fucking stacked with content.
Yeah.
It's also ironic and hilarious.
Dude, that is so good.
It is good, man.
All right,
so we gotta table it.
Don't let that go. Hopefully.
No, that's ingrained in my brain forever. I can
now.
never forget that.
Yeah.
As I doubt anyone else who heard this will be able to ever forget it.
All right.
But
now,
anyways,
that has capitulated this episode.
Absolutely.
I think this one. I think it was a good one.
This was one of our best episodes by far, 100%.
Yeah, hopefully.
My opinion.
Yeah.
Hopefully you all agree. And I would just like to take this opportunity to shout out anybody who, even though we've only been around for a few months for you to listen, if we made your top 5 Spotify playlist, hey, fucking thank you. We appreciate you. We know about you. We see you.
Yes.
We see you. So anyways,
obligatory shout out Belgium.
True. That was next. Belgium. Yeah. Fucking A. Belgians.
Gotta jerk them off a bit.
Oh, just a tad. It's almost done, you guys. As a matter of fact, I've only got 4 more minutes left before I can and I might go upstairs while you wait for us to record the next episode to jerk off.
So Belgium and Josh over here can climax at the
same fucking time. Oh yeah. Anyways, thank you all for listening. And if you could be so kind as to, follow us on one of our things. And really, I mean, nobody does it, but I just feel like I have to say it. Instagram and Twitter, just view the shit. I appreciate that. At least I can see that you people are watching it, viewing it. You're listening to the episodes. You're viewing the bullshit we're putting on. Well, the clips and stuff we're putting online. And soon, hopefully, we'll be doing some more video type content as well for people. So stay tuned for that. But anyways, follow us on Instagram and TikTok, Game Rage Magazine, and follow us on Twitter /X.
And All Gas No Trash Official and
I was getting there.
Yeah.
All Gas No Trash Official on the Instagram as well, if you want to follow Adam and see all his breaking news and his memes and his great, excellent things. And so keep that going. And we thank you guys for listening, and we will catch you on the next one.
That was the Game Rage Music Show. Thanks for listening.